I think maybe it's hard to put him in horror for kind of the same reason why, like, when you put somebody really famous as the only, like, one of the only famous people in a horror movie, it's kind of obvious the moment they're introduced in the first act, like, well, that must be the killer. Otherwise, why would that actor be slumming it? When you see someone, even before you knew who Buscemi was, once you saw his face, it's so distinctive and memorable in an instant that you're kind of like, well, I'm going to remember that guy. Like,
That's true.
you can't possibly spring the surprise that Buscemi is the killer.
He hasn't really done a lot of, even horror or wherever, where he's just a straight up bad guy. Usually, if he's, an awful criminal, there is kind of a humorous element to it, like Fargo. It's not really played.
Con Air.
Yeah, exactly. So or like he's kind of the low life in Desperado, that great opening scene. So he's just not really. I think maybe people like him more as a humorous bad guy, like the great scene in Billy Madison, where he's the loser who crosses Billy's name off of his people to kill list. It's like, it's funny because he's very comedic, and it's like, yeah, that's hilarious. I don't think we would really want to see a movie where he is straight up that kind of a guy. I don't know if he would pull that off as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's always a bigger villain even when he's playing a bad guy, whether it's Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs or Beria in Death of Stalin or Malkovich in Con Air. He's never the one we're really rooting against.
I'm looking here, and I'm aside from cartoons, which he's done a lot of and often plays the bad guy in, the only thing I can find where he's the actual main villain is Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, which is a bad film no one really much talks about.
I like him there. Mr. Shush.
Like I don't think you could do the pedophile serial killer gets away and it's an audience applause moment with almost anyone else, really. But
that is such a crazy reach that movie goes for, to do the like Hannibal at the end of Silence of the Lambs ending, but as a comedy beat.
Yep,
that is.
It's kind of the movie in a nutshell, really. Yeah.
You mentioned that he's no stranger to playing sleazebags, murderers, and everything. But one of the things we're touching on here between Reservoir Dogs, Con Air, all this, he plays a lot of villainous types, sleazy types, but he's never the worst person in the movie.
I mean, he's done it. It's few and far between. It's not really his thing. It's not really memorable when he does. I think you're getting to the main thing there, which is, for whatever reason, this guy has just an incredible amount of audience sympathy built in. And I don't know if it's just accrued over time because he's beloved character actor Steve Buscemi, but I think it's there in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
I think, that's it. Well, Reservoir Dogs and Con Air especially, like, these are characters that we should not, on paper, should not have any great affection for. And yet you kind of come out liking them best of anybody in the movie almost. Maybe not so much Con Air's, but Reservoir Dogs, he kind of steals the sympathy away from the more, like,
the guys with the classic arcs.
Better than Harvey Keitel or Tim Roth. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just great. Like there's just a lovability
he's very
about him somehow.
Odd looking, but I don't really think of him as evil looking. He just is just kind of odd looking, and so it's like I don't think he's really made. Yeah,
he's kind of funny looking,
exactly. And so it's
it's a non-threatening way of being ugly. He's not nasty looking. He doesn't.
The ugly thing.
Messed up.
He's definitely weird looking. He is distinctive looking. I mean, we've I think we've talked about this before. Is that a big part of celebrity is just having a face that people recognize and remember? A famous face, and man, not many people look like him. He has character all over his face, and there's a pejorative way of saying that, but it has given him a 50-year career in the industry as well.
Well, I don't think it's just that he looks interesting. There's something about this too. When I was watching Living in Oblivion a week or two back, and I was struck by how there's something that both that the leads there are Steve Buscemi and Catherine Keener, and they both have this quality, I think, about them that sounds like it should be like a general movie star quality, which is that it's interesting to watch them think. And that is actually not so much a big movie star thing. Like, I mean, you could use it to draw a line between, and that movie also has Dermot Mulroney in it, who's an actor that with leading man looks, who does not have that quality. His alter ego Dylan McDermott does not have that quality. Sam Worthington does not have that quality. Any of the whatever Jai Courtney, whoever you want to throw at as the bland, undistinguished leading men. But actually, I think there's something about this, that movie star leading man quality, that is not necessarily what it is. Because I don't think Tom Cruise has that necessarily either. It's interesting to watch Tom Cruise act and move through the world, but not necessarily to sit and contemplate. This is, I think, character actors do that allows them to sort of straddle and become leading men in certain types of movies, at least. And I think of other character actors, non-traditional handsome types, but James Gandolfini, excellent at this. Philip Seymour Hoffman, amazing at this. Hoffman and Buscemi both have a capacity, and Gandolfini too, of not just making like contemplating like interesting, but they can also make their character just thinking, reacting funny in itself, a comedy beat. Just watching their eyes roll or bulge or take a moment. And that is, it's rare. It sounds so simple, and when I say it like that, but it is kind of a rare thing. And I think it's what allows him to rise above the field in a way.
Well, I mean, it's just an excellent, skill for an actor to have in their tool set, obviously. And you're right. That's a good example of that for that film too, Living in Oblivion.